This week we've been looking at ways that we can increase our capacity to love. Through the love languages of gifts and time, words and service, we seek to cultivate a culture around here of compassion and love. Well, in this final installment, we consider the final love language of touch. World-class experts understand how vast amounts of love can be expressed through appropriate touch. Now, I know this varies from culture to culture. Social scientists tell us that in really high-touch cultures like Puerto Rico or Italy, in an hour of conversation, people will touch each other up to 100 times. Now, compare that to the United States. You know how many times we touch each other in an average hour of conversation? Twice, which is still better than Germans. I am German. We tend to have conversations from different rooms in the house, so there's no accidental touching going on. Germans touch each other 0 times. It's unfortunate because touch is such a powerful way to express love. A volunteer tells of going to work for Mother Teresa in the streets of Calcutta for the poorest of the poor. When she arrived, Mother Teresa was giving her a tour of the home when it was cut short as some other volunteers brought in this child that they had just rescued from the streets. It was clear to Mother Teresa that this baby was not going to make it through the night. And so she said to the new volunteer, "Look, we can finish this tour later. For now, make certain this child does not die without having felt human love." That volunteer would later write in her journal, "I held that baby in my arms and I loved her until 6 o'clock in the evening. I spent the hours humming Brahms' lullaby, and you know, I could feel that baby, as tiny and as weak as she was. I could feel her pressing herself against me, because even a dying infant responds to human touch." Jesus understood the power of human touch. Matthew 8, 1-4 records the story. When Jesus came down from the mountainside, large crowds followed him. A man with leprosy came and knelt before him and said, "Lord, if you are willing, you can make me clean." Jesus reached out his hand and touched the man. "I am willing," he said, "be clean." Immediately he was cured of his leprosy. Now just imagine this story from the leper's perspective. For 5 years, nobody has touched me. Things you take for granted, a pat on the back, a kiss on the cheek, I haven't known or felt for 5 years until today. It all started at the beginning of the season when I was out in the field planting seeds. I noticed there a numbness in the tips of my finger. It just got progressively worse as the season wore on. I hoped to hide it from people, but how could I really? Walked around as if I were cradling some wounded bird against my chest. During the harvest time, I was washing up, getting ready for dinner, when I noticed the water, blood red. Only then did I see this deep gash in my finger. I couldn't even feel any pain. Couldn't even tell you how it got there. My wife behind me said, "You have it on your clothes too." And sure enough, ugly splotches of blood everywhere. She asked, "Do you want me to go see the priest with you?" I said, "No." Just then our 5-year-old daughter joined us. I looked her straight in the eye, best I could, tried to explain to her, "Look, Daddy's really sick and I have to go away for a long time. I may never come back, but it's not because I don't love you, sweetheart. I love you more than anything." And with that, I gave her a kiss goodbye. I hugged my wife and kissed her. That's the last human touch that I have felt for 5 years until today. I was hiding behind this big rock. Mobs of people were going by when I spotted the healer off in a distance. He was coming my direction. When he was close, I jumped out from behind the rock and I shouted, "Jesus, Jesus!" Well, panic seized the parents, went diving after their kids, covering up their eyes. Everybody shouting in the crowd, "Unclean, unclean!" Well, of course, I was used to that kind of response from people. But then what happened next, I had not seen for years. Jesus, he actually took a step toward me. That's right, toward me. I threw myself at his sandaled feet and begged, "Jesus, if you are willing, you can make me clean." And with that, he broke the law. He reached out and he touched me. You can't touch a leper, especially if you are some respected rabbi. But I'm telling you, he touched me. And then he spoke. His voice as gentle as his touch. "I am willing," he said. "Be clean." Power surged through my back. I was no longer looking down at his feet, but now into his face. His eyes glistening with joy. He flashed this big smile. Now, think of this. If he had just wanted to heal me, he could have snapped his fingers or spoke the word, but that wasn't good enough. Instead, he touched me. Me. Unworthy of human touch, and yet somehow deserving of the touch of God. Max Lucado offers this commentary on the story. Oh, the power of a godly touch. Haven't you known it? The doctor who treated you, or the teacher who dried your tears? Was there a hand holding yours at a funeral? A handshake of welcome at the new school? Haven't we all known the power of a godly touch? Can't we offer the same, he asks? And of course the answer is yes, we can. So today, express love through appropriate human touch.